right, we're back. It's 9 to noon, and we're going to go live to the Lamelo Ball press conference. I'm looking forward to this. You guys should be too.
Longest active streak in the NBA. Lamelo and Josh are joined here on the stage by Timberwolves President of Basketball Operations Tim Conley and Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch. We'll tip off today's press conference with some questions. Let's start with John Krasinski of The Athletic.
John Krasinski, Lamelo, you have not been in the playoffs just yet in your career. Just what do you think playing in a winning environment like this can do for your game in terms of bringing out even a higher level?
I feel it could do a lot. I mean, I'm just coming here ready to play. I'm here to learn and just, give them all.
What have your conversations with Ant been like about teaming up in this backcourt with him?
Yeah, I mean, I know Ant for a minute, so, we've been talking. Just everybody excited, and we ready to get to work.
Lamelo, when you kind of see this team as a whole, what excites you the most about joining this group, not just with Ant, but some of your other teammates that you're going to be playing alongside?
Yeah, honestly, just everything. I don't see nothing bad in it. From the coaches to the staff, and I already been here a little. Seen the people, everybody already seemed cool, so all of it is just blessings.
And Tim, kind of for you, what inspired you to make the move and want to go out and get Lamelo to pair with Ant in the backcourt here?
Yeah, I think he's such a unique player in person. He elevates people on the court and off the court. When you talk to anybody around him, they talk about how much joy he finds in the game. I think that's really important. And certainly to get someone like Josh and Lamelo, you got to unfortunately trade two really, really good players and great guys, and Julius and Nas. So without them being great players and really top-notch pros, we wouldn't get these guys. So. But specific to his skill set and how it complements what we have presently, he's a lead guard. He's a real point guard, they're hard to find. I think you see the impact he has on his teammates, and I think it's probably well-timed. He's been through a lot, but he's still only 24 years old, and he's a guy that we think is going to elevate us, and hopefully we can help him a little bit as well.
Jace Frederick, Pioneer Press. Lamelo, you talked about knowing Ant. What do you like most about his game, and how do you envision you two playing off one another?
I think mindset, just how you don't let nobody affect him in front of him, and just go after it. I love that.
Lamelo, Travis Singleton, SneakerReporter.com. Just talk about what it means to be in Minnesota, the fans embracing you, a new city. Just talk about this new chapter in your career as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's God's plan. Like I said, I just leave it up to him, and I just feel extremely blessed.
And then also, can you just talk about, everybody knows how special you are offensively. Just talk about what you can bring defensively as well to this team. This is a defensive team, defensive mindset coming to the Western Conference. Just talk about what you can do as well.
Yeah, I think we all feed off one another. You see 4 other people playing defense. Obviously, it make it a lot easier. So I feel like we will all be good.
Chris Long from KSTP Television. How much does Lamelo, I guess maybe the word is stabilize on offense?
Well, it gives us a point guard, and gives us great size in the West. You got to have kind of big backcourt. We learned that through the playoffs this year. As Tim mentioned, is a player that elevates everybody. I think he can unlock Rudy to another level at the rim. We've got to find a way to generate more catch and shoot 3-point shots for Anthony, who's absolutely elite at that, and take some of the burden of handling and creating off of his hands so he can get back. I think he can help us and help Jaden take the next step. We've seen incredible growth by Jaden year after year. It's been key to our success has been the internal growth of a lot of our players, and we see not just stabilizing but also bolstering this.
Lamelo, how much has your game, especially last year, how much did your game advance and mature? And how much farther can you go?
I feel like sky's the limit. Like I said, I just show up, try to learn, and do the best I could. So it's going to come in.
Chris, hey, Chip Goggins from Star Tribune. You told Chris here, my colleague in Las Vegas, that Ant has engaged in a way that you haven't seen before. Can you expound on that? Maybe what will that look like when the season comes around?
Well, Ant's excitement level at this point in time, understanding exactly where the team is, what it needs. I think he's oftentimes players go into the summer, they're very focused on their game, what they need to do to get better. He certainly always has that mindset, but I think now he's kind of looking at the team in a way that with casting forward to what we need to do as a team to get better. and the different types of players who would fit into what we're doing and what we believe in. It's been fun with him. He's been very conversational in that regard. Watching the playoffs, talking basketball with him, and just seeing the trends that we see in the playoffs and the things that we would either do or counter, etc. So it's like his basketball acumen continues to grow, and he's in a really good spot right now.
Josh, question for you. When you first got the news that you were coming to Minnesota, when you look at what Lamelo brings to the table, Anthony Edwards, and the rest of this roster, what excited you most when you first got the news?
Yeah, I think just being a part of a winning environment. I've been lucky enough to, play here a bunch of times, in the Western Conference Finals and everything, and, just be able to feel the atmosphere and energy, excites me, and I'm just, ready to go.
For anybody, last year, Lamelo played 28 minutes a game, so he was able to get a lot of time in, played over 70 games. Have you consulted with the medical staff or figured out whether that's a prudent course of action? Or do you think he can play more than that?
Well, we haven't dug into it just yet, so those conversations will be had as we go through the summer. We are confident in our medical staff. Obviously, we've done a great job. We've been one of the healthiest teams in the league over the last number of years. All credit to the leadership in that room and the way they go about things. So we'll have a plan, and we'll try to stick to that plan as best we can.
Josh, just how do you see your game fitting in here, and what kind of a role do you see for yourself with this team?
I think just from day one, just trying to bring as many winning plays, making the right plays. At the end of the day, I love winning. I'm competitive, so just kind of figuring it out and just be ready to go from day one.
And Chris, could you talk a little bit about how you see Josh fitting in and where you see he can bring?
Yeah, I think he nailed it. He's played a lot of meaningful basketball in his time in the NBA. Been to the finals. Is a guy that has a skill set that plugs in easily alongside a lot of different lineup combinations out there. I think versatility in defense, being able to guard across multiple positions, an innate toughness that he has, and just kind of another experienced guy, but still young enough to augment a young core.
Josh, have you had McDaniels guarding you a few times, and what's that battle like?
Have I had him guarding me? Yeah, I think, since high school, I've been playing against, Jaden and those guys. He's always been a very talented player, and he's developed a lot in the league, so I'm excited to be able to play next to him. He's a great defender, and, I think it's going to be fun to, play defense with him.
Tim, you talked about the need for a point guard. Everybody kind of did heading into this offseason. What was the value in getting somebody who can clearly set the table but also is such a scoring threat like Lamelo is, and kind of that combination of the two?
Yeah, again, we think the sky's the limit with this game. When he's healthy, there's not more than a handful of more impactful guys on winning in the NBA. And, just his love for the game. This is supposed to be fun. I think he enjoys life, he enjoys playing. You don't want to make this, anything but a joyous atmosphere. So you combination of that with immense skills, his playmaking, his elite shooting. We think there's another level of defensive component that he can kind of unlock with his positional size, with his instincts, and with his just IQ. We think he's going to be a heck of a defender. So all those things at 24 years old, we're just super lucky to have him here.
Lamelo, both Tim and Chris have said that they've had their eye on you for a few years and wanted to kind of get you into this team. What does it mean to come to a group that maybe really highly values what you bring to the table, and they've been thinking about this for a while?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. Just when anybody values you and sees what you could do, for sure grateful. So, like I always say, it's a blessing.
And Tim, how did you kind of work through scouting, not just what he does on the court, but kind of Lamelo's overall mindset, makeup, and any kind of criticisms about his game or anything like that?
Yeah, we're lucky. We've been in the NBA forever. A million people have talked to a bunch of his teammates, current and former, a bunch of coaches. And the consistent opinion was just a joy to be around. Brings great energy every day. Over 82 games, it's hard to always bring great energy. So I think the positivity that he brings is reflected in his game. And everyone I talked to thought, in the last year or two in particular, the maturity kind of rose tremendously, and I just think he's primed to help lead us to places we haven't been yet. I think in not just our league, but our society, we want it now. He's 24 years old, and when he's healthy, he's driven winning. So we hope that continues, and we only want to take the next step, and we think he can lead the way.
Tim, Michael Rand from the Star Tribune. You guys have 4 first-round picks from 2020 now. What's the particular value you see in kind of the young veterans that you're accumulating right now?
We have none for the next 10 years. That's a good.
So I didn't. You said it on me.
It's all about quality, not quantity, right? No, these guys are young vets, and they've seen a lot. So I think, I think we talk about Ant quite a bit. The amount of winning Ant's seen as number 1 overall pick, I don't think is appreciated enough, especially given his age. Like, Ant drives winning. It's supposed to be hard when you come in the NBA when you're super talented. It's supposed to be this natural ascent, and we think both these guys. I mean, Josh was an impactful part of a team that smacked us in the Western Conference Finals. You see what Lamelo does when he's healthy, and even as the health, it's been these random wonky injuries, right? There's nothing. You'll play more than 72 here for sure, right? No, hopefully, I'll say hopefully. So I think, these guys have just got a lot of innings under their belt, and they know what it looks like. They're veteran basketball players, but they're still really young relative to their age. So I think it's kind of a sweet spot to see. We have all these guys together, and they grow together.
Lamelo, what was it like for you last year, after 5 years of relatively non-competitive from the team, to be in a playoff hunt and in a chase and playing games that really mattered down the stretch of the season? How did that change kind of things for you?
I mean, just going the right way, honestly. Whenever you're winning, I feel like that's the right way. And then when you're losing, that's obviously the wrong way.
Chris, Tim just said he feels this group can go to the level you've never been to, take another step. What will it take? I mean, you obviously have a lot of talent on this team. What would it take, having watched the playoffs and see what, wins championships for this team to get to that level?
Yeah, when you make big changes to the roster, obviously the first step is it takes time to smooth out some of the rough pieces, but we're a big believer in the connectivity that should kind of naturally be there. And for us, the example I use is we just got to get way better at all the small things. I mean, when you start you pick up golf for the first time, to go from an 18 handicap to an 8 handicap is pretty easy. Just put the time in, get a little bit more. You go from 8 to a 7, or in the 7 to a 5, and it gets harder and harder because the margins are tougher and tougher, and that's where we are. We've got to have better habits across the board, ones that we know are going to hold up against the best teams in the West. And during the regular season, we've shown obviously the ability to beat anybody, and that's kind of the league these days. We've done a great job with playoffs in the early rounds, and we've made some runs to the Western Conference Finals. But we also know that's only halfway there. You got to win the Western Conference Finals and then win the finals. So keeping it all in perspective, we're hungry. We got to continue to round out our defense. We're going to have to figure out how to now be a small team in a league that's going bigger. And so we've made these type of switches before, but it's really about the refinement of the championship habits that we have to establish.
Tim, you mentioned the no picks. Obviously, this was a move that kind of emptied the tank on assets, draft assets. Did you have to know, I guess, if you were going to move that 2033 pick, that it was going to be a pick that it was going to be for a player who can make this massive impact and be with this team long term and kind of maybe be somebody who would actually get you over the hump?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger loss was Nas, both as a player and a person. I mean, if we could have done this without Nas, it would have been the biggest no-brainer. So while the pick's important, and thankfully the step-in rule allows us to have a pick every other year, so it's not as dire as it might seem from afar. It's just losing Nas. He's exactly what you want to see. Undrafted, got better and better. He's an elite, power forward, and also an elite guy. So that was the more hurtful part. I think if you're, our goal is to win, and I think you have to mesh strategy with winning. But if you're solely focused on strategy and not winning games, it's a brutal place to be. So we'll continue to try to balance those two things. But when you look at the core we have and the age of our core and their ability to grow and really be together for a really long time, it's exciting.
And then Lamelo, this obviously is a team that is used to playing in the postseason and winning games. Assuming that's the case again this next year, what did you learn from these last couple play-in games last year that you can maybe apply as you move forward and just kind of prepare you for that stage?
Pretty much just every play count. It's everything you're doing the whole game. It all count from the first quarter all the way to the end of the game.
Josh, just how much do you lean on your versatility as a player, being able to guard multiple positions? And like Coach was saying, if you guys play smaller this year, can you play a little 4 as well? And just where do you see yourself kind of trying to find your way versatility-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, I'm open to, defending anything, 1 through 4. I think that's, one of my strengths is being able to plug in and you be able to do that offensively and defensively. So really, whatever's asked for me, I'll be ready to go.
Tim, Chris just mentioned, learning how to be maybe a smaller team in a league that's trending bigger, with trading Julius and Nas. There's lack of power forwards on the roster here. Just kind of how do you view that position and rounding out the roster the rest of the offseason here?
Yeah, we're down 2 great power forwards, so it's certainly an area we're going to have to try to be creative. There's a couple of free agents still available. We're working 1 or 2 of them right now. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but I think somewhat of our lack of size, there's going to be an increased role for Yohan, who we're all very excited about. But certainly it's going to be a new look roster, and all credit to Coach France's willingness to, consistently evolve and coach what's put in front of them. There's not a more creative coach in the world, so we have full faith. And whatever we put out there, it's going to be successful, and it might look different, but we're excited about it.
Josh, what did you just learn about playing with Lamelo as a teammate, like what he brings to the table on a day in and day out basis?
Yeah, I think just like going off, what both Tim and Coach have been saying, just like, his energy is contagious, on the court, off the court, being able to play fast, he gets all his teammates involved, and, he's a great guy to be around. And I think that goes a long way in the league, and, I think it's great. So it brings a lot of energy, and it's fun to be around.
Lamelo, you put a call into LeBron and just say, hey, come on with us, or?
Say it again for me.
Do you put a call into LeBron and just say, come on with us?
Yeah, whatever you thinking.
Another question for Connolly. Obviously, you guys have the luxury of ownership that's willing to, go into that luxury tax. If you could just describe some of the flexibility that gives you in roster building and also kind of that tiptoe with not wanting to go into the second apron.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have extremely aggressive owners. I mean, over 48 hours, we went from way under the tax to back into the tax. I think the mandate since I've been here is let's try to win a championship, and that gives us tremendous optionality, and it allows us to be aggressive when situations like this aren't going to come very often. So the aggression that ownership showed certainly allowed for this to happen.
And then another quick question for me on that, just when you trade for a guy like Lamelo, just how are you weighing, win now versus how he can impact you guys in the long term? If you could describe that thought process.
Well, I think it's both. We certainly don't want to take a step back, and while we look different, Lamelo saw a lot of winning early too. I think he's had some unfortunate injuries, but the first couple of years he really drove winning early with a more veteran group. You saw last year, after the new year, they were the best offense in the league by a mile. They were top 5 defense. There was no hotter team in the NBA. So I think while he hasn't had the success he probably wanted to, from a team perspective, first X amount of years, I do think it's a little overstated how little winning basketball he's seen. And I think he'll elevate us, and I think our environment will be conducive to his continued growth as well.
Chris, is it easier to draw up offense with Rudy in there if you do go smaller?
Well, I do feel like, we have a blueprint for what fits Rudy most comfortably, and when you had a lot of offense, a lot of consistent offensive success in Utah and more of a smaller lineups for round one. Rudy's done an incredible job over the last couple of years of learning how to play off of another big, whether it be Cat or Julius or Nas. All those guys had different kind of spacing requirements, and Rudy's done a really good job of kind of adding that component to his game. But I can now envision lineup constructs that kind of get him back to being he's always been a great roller, but now just with better space around him and things that he does more naturally. So I know he's excited as well, and looking forward to establishing an early chemistry with Lamelo.
Tim, what has the recruitment of LeBron been like, and where do you feel like you're at with that right now?
I don't know. Look, I think the recruitment is this team. I think obviously he's an unbelievable player. Whatever decision he's make is going to be the right one. There's a lot going on. When you're as great as he is, you should have optionality. I think when you look at our team, it's hard not to be excited about what we have. We have the best coach. We have amazing fans. We've had the last couple of years, our success has been as good as anybody outside of the guys that have won it all. And I think not just speaking to LeBron, any free agent, I think this is a place we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to win a lot of games. And, we're trying to change the narrative of how this organization is viewed. So, we're kind of proud of who we are. And certainly wherever LeBron ends up is going to make that place much, much, much better. But it's hard not to look at Lamelo and Jaden and Rudy and Josh. And we saw what TJ did in the postseason. We think Behringer has a chance to be a really special player. We're extremely excited to get Io back. That was a pretty competitive market. He had options all over the league. I like who we are. And certainly, we're pretty proud of who we are. So hopefully that's appealing not just to LeBron, but any free agent.
Lamelo is a point guard. Have you watched Olivia Miles yet?
Oh,
Have
yes,
you
of
seen
course.
Olivia Miles yet?
Yeah, of course. She cold.
For Josh and Lamelo, how has your perception of Minnesota and the Timberwolves kind of evolved over these last few years as this team has kind of been on the rise?
I think going up before, being able to play here now for many years, and I think just like, it's a very underrated basketball city. I think some of the best fans, if not the best fans in the NBA. It's a very loud arena to play, and a beautiful city. It's great. So it's an awesome place.
Second that, everything my man said. For sure.
All right, thank you for all the questions. We'll now have a photo opportunity up here on the stage with Josh and Lamelo and Chris and Tim.
All right, we're back 9 to noon on The Fan. I'm Alec Lewis, Vikings beat writer, in for PA with Brett Blakemore producing. We just listened to the LaMelo press conference.
There's a lot to take away from that.
There really is. We've got some winners and losers. I saw you jotting down some stuff. I got a whole page of notes that I want to talk through. We got about a half hour more of the show. So when we come back around the corner, we will get to all of our thoughts on LaMelo's lengthy comments at his introductory presser. Looking forward to it. You are listening to 9 to noon on The Fan.
Before we go, The Fan and BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks for the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is bank for this hour. Keyword bank. KFAN.com. Keyword bank.
It's Alec Lewis in for PA on The Fan.
From the 1-800...
This Sunday, watch with us and Nordo at Boardwalk Kitchen and Bar in Shakopee as a World Cup champion will be crowned. We'll have the final match on. Tons of games, prizes, and of course, great drink specials. The party starts at 1 p.m. We'll see you this Sunday at Boardwalk Kitchen Bar in Shakopee.
All right, back to 9 to noon. I'm Alec Lewis in for PA on The Fan here with Brett Blakemore producing, and we just listened to the LaMelo Ball introductory presser. Boy, was that a doozy. I've got some thoughts and some winners and losers. Brett, you do too, probably.
I do.
What's first on your list from what stood out to you in that loquacious press conference that we just listened to from
Great
LaMelo?
word. I've got winners and losers. My first big winner, Kevin O'Connell. What a big winner coming out of that press conference.
Yeah, you guys want to rip on the word salads. Let me tell you, sometimes that provides you with some juicy nuggets for your stories.
You're complaining that he takes too long, it's hard to edit, and he drones on and on and on. We got LaMelo just saying, yeah, winning is good and losing is bad.
His best quote for sure was, "She cold," on Olivia Miles.
I have that on my winner
Olivia
list.
Miles is a winner in life, but also through the LaMelo Ball press conference. But that was clearly his best quote. He was not. I didn't know he was going to be that short. I really didn't expect that.
I thought he with his reputation would go long. I thought it would be the opposite way, where he just wants to hear the sound of his own voice. No, he's business as usual.
All business.
Yeah,
maybe that was, PR strategy of like, I'm here to play ball. I'm not here to talk ball. There's no reason for me to be negative on that. I think if that's his prerogative, it's totally okay.
Another big winner that I had, that this was your idea that we wrote down, beat writers. Huge W for beat writers this press conference, how short he was, along with the Kevin O'Connell bit. You don't have to transcribe anything.
That's what those of you driving around listening to KFAN right now do not care at all what the life is like for your beat writers or transcribing. But let me tell you, when you have an interview that is short, concise, and easy to listen back to and type out, you don't complain about it. Like that is a clear winner. I also thought this, Brett. First of all, one of the winners was us or me. You get to play 20 minutes. I don't have to talk for 20 minutes. That's a clear winner. But also, there was this quote from Tim Connolly where he said, "We are trying to change the narrative of how this organization is viewed." That is if you're a beat writer, that is a quote that is a winner, certainly. I expect to see that in your local athletic coverage and newspapers galore, because that was a good quote from Tim Connolly.
A couple more winners. Olivia Miles, as we mentioned, where, in short and sweet, but LaMelo Ball says, she called. And fair enough. She is. She's very good.
Like, I watched last night a little bit, partly because I've seen a lot of the buzz on social media, but also because, like, I saw she was the cover of Slam magazine, and I tweeted this on social media, but I was like, watching Olivia Miles play basketball, and you can make whatever you think of the WNBA or whatever, like, I really don't care. Watching her play is like watching how I would want my creative player to play, where you've got vision, you're flashy, you can hit step backs with ease. Like, it is just, it's actually a joy to watch her play. So, LaMelo took note. That was good of him.
I can't wait for Fee to come back. That will be must-see TV.
I want to go to a game.
Yeah,
I officially, it's actually crazy too. I did it when I interned for Yahoo Sports when I was in college. I remember doing a WNBA story and talking to Cheryl Reeve, and Cheryl was really great to me. So I've got a soft spot in my heart there.
Other winner that I have written down, and we can get to some losers.
Yeah.
Australian accents.
Josh Green.
Win.
Josh Green with the sneaky Australian accent. I was looking up, like, is that Brooklyn? Is that, like, where is that coming from? But it is, he grew up in Sydney, I guess.
There was one word, I can't remember what it was, that he said, and I was like, oh, that was an interesting way to say that.
And a big theme, like Josh Green was asked a couple questions, and I mean, a big theme from Tim Connolly, Chris Finch, but also Josh Green was just the LaMelo energy is contagious, playing fast. It is very clear, listening to them talk, that they hope that LaMelo, both on and off the court, his kind of youthful vibe just like flows through the rest of the team. We'll see come this winter if that's the case, but I can't wait to watch it.
Losers on my list, number one, and first and foremost, golfers. Big losers in this press conference.
Chris Finch said, it's easy to go from an 18 to an 8 handicap. No, it's not.
It's really tough.
I've been an 18 handicap my whole life. Like, what do you mean? I've got to change my grip to do that. Then I've got to be duffing balls all over the place. I played last week with Parker Fox. He's driving the ball 350 yards, and I'm out here hooking him into the water. I mean, why did he say that? Is Chris Finch an 8 handicap?
A year ago, I was a 16. Oh, no one cares. And I've been taking lessons with the Master Pro. Been playing all the time. I'm down to a 13, and that's hard work just to get 3 strokes. 13. And here's Chris Finch saying, "Oh, it's easy to just be a single-digit handicap. Super easy."
13's impressive. By Finchy Faith, whenever PA has Finch on, whether it's this week, next week, I don't know, whenever the vocal maintenance days are fully maintained, I want him to ask about that. Because if Chris Finch is like a 25 handicap, then that quote was like, it just doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
He probably can hit the ball 300 easy just from the height alone.
I thought, on a serious note, one of the interesting things that Chris Finch did say was we're going to have to figure out how to be a small team in a league going bigger. Like, I thought that was an interesting comment. And I've heard this said by John Krasinski, by Dane Moore, by Barrero in the afternoons, really by everyone. Like, it does feel like with a lot of these big swings the Wolves make, they are like a hair away from being like to where all the puzzle pieces feel like they fit perfectly. And if this is going to require Chris Finch and the coaching staff to get creative with lineups, et cetera, like how they go about trying to do that is very interesting to me, is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's a great serious note, because all of mine are just non-serious notes. Like,
and I've got more. Like, I thought,
yeah, go ahead with more serious stuff.
Yeah, no, Tim Connolly, like, one of the questions was about trading the future first, and I thought it was not a surprise to hear Tim Connolly say trading Naz Reid was the more difficult part of that. But it also was interesting because you know me, Brett, and the people listening who know me know, like, I'm fascinated by team strategy. Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated by roster building. I'm really interested in how some of the best executives in sports build teams. He said, Tim Connolly said, it's easy to get solely focused on strategy and not on winning games. And, like, it sounds like Tim Connolly's kind of, his theme, his meta is like almost less focus on like the optimal strategy and more just like how can we win? And that sometimes can manifest in making moves that maybe you regret or making moves that require future moves. But it's a refreshing strategy it's a refreshing strategy to be that way, I think.
One of my losers from this, speaking of that, was Johnny Athletic, and not because he did a bad job or anything. He did a great job. He's salt of the earth. I love Johnny Athletic. He was trying so hard to get Lamelo out of his shell. He was trying every trick in the book, and Lamelo just shut him down at the LeBron question. I was hoping that would be everyone. I was reading the live chat. I was reading the text line. Everyone was saying, that's the question we're waiting to hear the answer for. And he's like, whatever you think.
I think he said, he said, John was like, hey, did you you feel like sending LeBron a text, like, come join up? And LaMelo was like, whatever you thinking.
He was trying so hard to get him to say something, just anything.
It was interesting. I will say this, Tim Connolly was asked about LeBron, and the quote, he was like, where do things stand? I think he said, I don't know. But then Tim talked about the opportunity. It's hard not to be excited about what they have. It's going to be lots of fun. That obviously coincides with Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, talking a lot about LeBron wanting happiness. So, and then that's where he did say, we're trying to change the narrative of how this organization is viewed. And
that would change it.
I've told, like, you probably have thoughts on this, Brett, but I've told friends from back home in Alabama where I'm from, or college friends who live in Chicago, like, I don't think you can explain to people who live in other places who haven't experienced this sports town or these sports towns what it would mean for someone like LeBron to come here and lift this thing to a level it hasn't gotten to in 35 years. Like, I don't think you can really explain to someone who hasn't been here what that would, like, the vibe of what that would be.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, LeBron,
the whole town, like everything. It's not. I mean, you can say that with Quinn Hughes coming here, but like LeBron on a global fame level, it's just different. And when I moved here like 7 years ago, the Wolves were the losingest franchise in American sports. Sure. They stunk, and they were. I mean, Commons doing someone broke my windshield and left 2 Timberwolves tickets on the dash, and that's breaking the windshield is a misdemeanor, but the tickets is a felony. United, we run to the exits. And now we're talking about one of the best players, if not the best player to ever play the game, is debating joining up with the Timberwolves.
It's also crazy. It's also like, I got Caribou coffee this morning. There's a guy with the Timberwolves hat in there. I moved into my new apartment. There's a Nas Reed flag on someone's balcony. Like yeah, I know that's tough. It's emotional. I get it. But you do feel the presence of that team in this town in a way that, I mean, to Tim Connolly and their credit, like they did swing on Rudy Gobert. Like they have swung in ways that I think do kind of change the narrative. And so I give them credit for that in many ways. But, I would say, like, I definitely expected LaMelo to talk longer. It was 5 words and he was out. He was very economical with his wording, which I'll be curious to hear, like, later this afternoon or even next up with Tenna and Common, with Barrero later. Like, what do they think on that? What is the take on that? Because for me, it's like, why talk? Just let the game do the talking. And I think his game can speak loud enough to where that is a strategy that is sensible.
I do like that overall move instead of the opposite, but it did feel like such a good build-up.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you watched the stream, like there were people there and they were on this huge stage. And by the way, one of my losers was LaMelo's eyes because there was sun just directly in LaMelo's eyes, but not anybody else.
We couldn't get a curtain?
I know. I don't know what's going on. So it just felt like such a big build-up to then, oh, yeah, well, winning's good and losing's bad. And we're going to try to win.
Yeah, it's
like, all right.
It's
fine. It's minor things. I'm happy that he's here. I don't care about the presser if he's playing for the Timberwolves. That's all that matters.
I can't wait to be at some of those games. I mean, it really.
Oh yeah.
And the idea, and again, this is the optimistic radio here, but the idea of
it's the right time slot.
The idea of looking ahead and thinking about Kyler running around the field, throwing it deep to Justin Jefferson, coinciding with Matt Boldy, my guy, doing his thing, coinciding with LaMelo, kicks it to Ant, catch and shoot three, 65% from three. Like
go over to Byron, but.
Listen, the Twins, they're 7-3 in their last 10. I looked this up.
They are. That's undeniable.
I was hosting the show, so I did a little Googling on the Minnesota Twins. No, I do think I joked with a couple of buddies of mine because I try to be this team is going to win. There is a team in this town that is going to reach the mountaintop soon enough. And I was joking with some buddies the other day. I'm like, I think this could be the golden era. And this is going to be in the preposterous statement tournament. I think this could be a golden era of Minnesota sports. And I say that to try to create a response. Absolutely. But I also say that because there's part of me that believes the platform is there, to do so. That was fun. The 18-8 handicap. I mean, Chris Finch has got to be.
That could be a PST.
He's got to be pressed about that. Absolutely. Yeah. It was fun to react to. I'm Alec Lewis. In for PA on the Fan. I cover the Vikings for The Athletic. I have a podcast called The Alec Lewis Show on the iHeartRadio app, on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify. So if you can't get enough, first of all, we've got another segment before break.
And it's on the iHeartRadio app.
And then it's on the iHeartRadio app, wherever you get your podcast. So we'll be back around the corner for the final segment of 9 to Noon here on KFAN.
Last segment of the show, the post game, is brought to you by Owl Roofing. Thank you, Owl Roofing, for bringing the last segment of the show. Owl Roofing.
Final segment of 9 to Noon here on KFAN. It's been a blast of a morning. Brett, appreciate all of your help behind the glass.
Of course.
It's been...
It's nice to have someone around that's my age.
Yeah.
I'm always the youngest.
Well, I was going to ask you... Is Spain, France in the World Cup today?
That is today, 2:00.
You going to watch that, or are you working?
I'm locked in.
Yeah, I mean, Spain, France is pretty high level.
It's as high as it gets. It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object because France's offense has been unreal. Mbappe just scores for fun.
Sure. Spain
has given up one goal the entire tournament. We'll see what happens.
Did you watch the home run derby last night?
I did not. I typically like the home run derby.
It was on Netflix, so it was hard to find. Also, like I was thinking about this. I wondered if the home run derby feels like when I was a kid, you always watched. Nowadays, it doesn't. Maybe just because I'm older, so like I
had appointment viewing with House of the Dragon.
Sure,
that's what I was doing.
I still haven't started that. So
at all?
No, I mean I've seen this season.
Oh, this season. Okay, it's very good.
Yeah, the home run derby, Jordan Walker. It was fun, but it's just interesting how that's changed a little bit. I want to return to how I started the show. Optimism,
yes,
on the Vikings and the run game in particular. So. Like, there were a lot of people on, on the text line, and I appreciated all of these folks on the text line. They had questions with it. Like, someone asked, can you give me an example of how Frank Smith, the new Vikings assistant head coach, has been creative? And it's really hard to do that unless I've got either film in front of me or a whiteboard. But I would just tell you that the core of it comes down to how they are training the offensive line and the receiving core as part of the blocking unit. And that is really the nexus or the centerpiece of, if you are a believer, I should say, in the Vikings run game taking the next step, it is a byproduct of the offensive line being healthier, the ways that the offensive line has trained beginning in the spring under Keith Carter, the new offensive line coach. And there is going to be their ability as a unit to make adjustments on the fly in the run game. And that's just something that they've struggled with. Like, it's felt like to me over the last, even 4 years since Kevin O'Connell got here and since I started covering the team, that the offensive line has done a lot of thinking and not a lot of just firing off the ball. Now, that's sensible in some way because each offensive lineman has certain keys and targets in the run game, but I really think with this specific staff and the way they've teached and taught the run game, there is going to be the potential of this thing having an exponential effect. The same way I think, I'm really high on the Los Angeles Chargers this year because I think Mike McDaniel is their OC. For as goofy and as eccentric as Mike McDaniel is, the guy has had an ability to coach offense for a long time. And if you improve the run game around Justin Herbert and remove the onus on that guy every single play to then take the amount of hits that he took in 2025, they could be pretty good.
Who's calling the plays there? Do we know?
Mike McDaniel. It's going to be.
So it's not going to be run.
No, I think it will be a lot of run, but I do think that Justin Herbert via their play action will be effective. But that's where, for me, as much as we'll talk about the quarterback play, understandably, with Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy for weeks on end, the run game is a smart way to think about optimism with your Minnesota Vikings in 2026. That was a blast. Thank you, Brett, for being a part of it.
Of course,
Thanks
no
to
problem.
those of you who tuned in to 9 to noon on KFAN. I'm Alec Lewis. If you're looking for more, please check out my stories at The Athletic. Please listen to The Alec Lewis Show on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere else you get your podcast. We will be back here soon. Vocal maintenance days will end soon, and Paul Allen will be back in the chair. Next up is Common in the program. Thanks for listening to 9 to noon.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Choice Bank.
Right now,